Good morning, Humber Valley. It's a real privilege to be with you, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to connect with all of you once again. In the months since my time as your intentional interim minister ended, a lot of things have changed for you and for me. Many of your changes have related to the work of implementing the strategic plan we developed last year. And as I've checked out the church website over these last months and read Suzanne Hines' terrific newsletters, I need to say that I've been really impressed by all that you've accomplished. But then, of course, the appearance of COVID-19 in mid-March posed a host of new and unexpected challenges for you. Your building has been closed for 4 months. Worship services have moved online. Meetings and programs are being held via Zoom. The ministerial search process has been curtailed. The list goes on. A year ago, none of us could ever have dreamed that things would unfold as they have. But here we are. And on top of all that, many other aspects of life have become very difficult for all of us, in ways both large and small. Among those who have been most acutely affected are the residents of our nursing homes and long-term care facilities. Like many of you, I know someone who lives in one of these places, and while he fortunately has remained free of the virus, he's been living in virtual isolation for the last 4 months. No visitors, not even his wife and kids, have been allowed in. The volunteers and family members who'd often help look after the residents have also been kept out. And because several key staff people have themselves become ill, there's been a significant staff shortage, which has meant that personal contact has been at a premium. Regular phone calls and Skype sessions have helped, but the results have been devastating. And I'm sure that all of us know of other people who have struggled in significant ways as well, who've dealt with job losses, business closures, who've tried to figure out how to juggle working from home and teach the kids, to others who've been unable to attend choir practice, hug a friend, eat in a restaurant, do so much else. And even when we venture out and social distance, wear our masks, there's a lurking fear, especially for those of us over 60, that we may get seriously ill ourselves. It's no wonder that stress levels are rising. More and more of us are struggling with depression. In times like this, it can be hard to have hope. Thus, I believe that today's reading from Matthew's Gospel that we just heard comes at a very good time. For the reminder that God is continually at work, seeding seeds of new life and hope even when it seems hopeless to do so, is a welcome one. Indeed, Jesus' 5 short parables declare that kernels of new life are constantly being planted, even when we don't see them. The kingdom of heaven is like a tiny mustard seed that someone sowed and that became a great shrub, he said. It's like yeast that's added to flour, so that many loaves are produced. It's like treasure that someone discovered and did what was necessary to obtain. And it's like a net that was thrown into the sea and that was soon full of fish. The kingdom of God, Jesus says, is being born anew in ways that may not be readily apparent, but that are nonetheless real. It's great news. But this text does not suggest that life's burdens and challenges will magically disappear if we simply believe certain things and have faith that it'll all work out. Sadly, the world has never worked that way, even in Jesus' time. Indeed, he spoke these words in an era where the Roman Empire controlled and ruled his homeland, when those who stepped out of line were viciously nailed to a cross, when the pressures to give up were acute, and when hope for a new future seemed very dim. So he encouraged his first followers and us not to give up hope, and to focus on the kingdom even when doing so may seem fruitless or even dangerous. And I believe that this kingdom, a term that's sometimes translated as realm or kingdom, refers to the two core commandments that Jesus continually emphasized. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. And love your neighbor as yourself, Jesus said. Do this. Do this and you will live. This is the essence of Christ's core teaching. And we are called to live into these convictions by developing and using our particular gifts and passions in ways that faithfully address some of life's most acute hurts and injustices. Indeed, the fruits of God's realm will never be realized unless we do our part to help bring them to fruition. While we certainly don't create the seeds or the yeast or the fish, today's parables remind us that they only flourish and grow when people like you and I plant them, add them, cast out our nets. Then and only then do mustard seeds grow, does bread dough rise, does the catch come in. And that's especially true in times like this. Even though we may feel overwhelmed by anxiety and fear, and even though the steady stream of bad news we hear can leave us almost paralyzed, we are called to be agents of the hope and transformation of which Jesus speaks. For the needs today are especially acute. And when we respond, we in the world benefit in innumerable ways. A friend of mine has certainly found that to be true. She's long been a pillar of our local congregation. And when they closed their doors and started Zooming their services in March, someone was needed to operate the system, help coordinate the service, and make sure all the pieces were in place. She volunteered. It's been a big job with a steep learning curve, and I recently asked how she was doing. We've had our glitches, she said, but the experience has been a good one for me. It's given me a task to focus on and an opportunity to be helpful and make a bit of a difference. It's what I needed, and I don't know what I'd have done without my church. Many of you, I expect, can relate, for you've all been working hard to offer and support a variety of initiatives that are also making a real difference in many lives, and also hopefully in yours. Building on Judith Dallamore's 35-year tradition of daytimer programming, Anne is now coordinating an impressive range of online activities for those aged 55 plus that draw people together, that help them create supportive new networks, and that offer great opportunities to learn new skills. The Spirit-filled worship service of June the 28th offered a powerful reminder that the process of Humber Valley becoming an affirming church that publicly declares its commitment to inclusion and justice for people of all sexual orientations and gender identities is ongoing and vitally important. A new task group focusing on racial equality, diversity, and inclusion, and how Humber Valley can take action in those areas, has been created. And Sunday worship services, now online and largely lay-led for the summer, remain a foundational way of being sustained and directed by the divine spirit that enables this and more to happen. All these activities take time and effort, I know, but I'm both heartened and inspired by the many ways you are giving expression to the seeds of hope that have been planted in your midst over the last number of years and are working to meet the needs of today. And I also hope that you will keep nurturing other seeds that have been planted in your community and will continue living into the exciting vision for ministry you've embraced. Etobicoke needs safe and spirit-filled communities where people can care and be cared for, where arts and creativity can be nurtured and expressed, and where deep and spirit-filled connections of many types can be developed. Your ministry is important. May the Spirit continue to guide and sustain all of you at Humber Valley as you continue to grow and develop in faith and in service. Amen.